On a winter night in 39 AD, Rome fell into silence, not because of the cold, but because every household knew that tonight, a daughter from some noble family would be taken away. Imagine being 14, wrapped in your nightclothes, thinking everything is peaceful, until you hear armored footsteps echoing down your street. You grow up hearing that a summons from the emperor is an honor, but no one tells you it can come without warning. No one tells you that the guards may enter your home as if it already belongs to them. And no one tells you why they carry a lantern covered in red cloth, a silent mark placed at your door. In a few minutes, you'll hear your mother whisper your name gently, as if speaking too loudly might offend the gods. Your father will force a smile he cannot hold, and you'll understand the truth every noble family fears. The Palatine docenti invite daughters, it claims them, and if you think this nightmare begins here, you are wrong. What waits inside the palace makes this moment feel almost merciful. This is not rumor. This is one of the darkest, least spoken chapters of Roman history. If hidden histories fascinate you, subscribe to Grim History and tell me where you're watching from. Let's begin. And the first girl you must remember is Flavia, because everything you are about to learn was shaped by the man who will soon decide her fate. To understand how someone can rise to greatness and fall into terrifying cruelty, you must start from the beginning. Caligula did not appear from nowhere. He was born into prestige, the son of Germanicus, Rome's beloved general, a man whose presence stirred cities and inspired armies. As a child, Caligula should have inherited nobility. Instead, he inherited trauma. He grew up not in gardens or classrooms, but in military camps filled with tension, discipline, and the constant shadow of conflict. Legionaries adored the little boy dressed in miniature armor, calling him Caligula, Little Boot. But the frontier taught him a dangerous rule: power isn't given, power is taken. That idea became the first crack in his soul. The second came violently. His father Germanicus died under mysterious circumstances, and Caligula watched his family slowly destroyed by Emperor Tiberius. His brothers died, his mother was exiled, his world collapsed. Then came Tiberius's remote island palace, outwardly peaceful, inwardly suffocating with fear. For 6 years, Caligula lived beside the man who had ruined his family, forced to smile, obey, and stay silent. There he learned a darker rule: to survive, hide everything, even from the person you fear most. When Tiberius died in 37 AD, Caligula 24 became Emperor. Rome celebrated. He released prisoners, lowered taxes, and held festivals. For a moment, he looked like a savior. But Caligula's past had not vanished. It was waiting beneath the surface. An illness struck him, violent and sudden, and when he recovered, something inside him did not return. He stood above the city and understood a chilling truth: when you hold absolute power, there is no one left to restrain you. Caligula's transformation did not strike Rome like lightning, it crept like a slow sickness. Heralds delivered scrolls sealed in imperial purple. Inside was the command no parent could refuse: send your daughter. The most respected, the most admired, the most politically useful. Families called it an honor in public and a silent tragedy in private. The young women were taken to a secluded palace wing Caligula called the Garden of Venus. Flavia walked inside believing she still had control. She didn't. At first it looked like paradise: marble perfumes, silk, endless luxury. But paradise was just decoration. The prison was everything beneath it. They were given jewelry that felt more like chains, clothing designed to strip away dignity, and nicknames meant to erase identity. But the real torment wasn't physical. It was the waiting. Every night, every hour, every footstep could be the moment their name was called. No sleep, no peace, only anticipation that carved fear into their minds. When summoned, they were displayed at lavish banquets, treated as ornaments, not people. Powerful men stayed silent, forced to pretend nothing was wrong. Silence became its own cruelty. Caligula alternated harshness with false kindness, a pattern that broke many young minds, making them dependent on the only person who could stop their suffering, the same person who caused it. He ranked the girls, turned them against each other, and isolated them completely. And when he lost interest, the girls were quietly redirected to other political figures, drawing them into the same web of guilt and silence. By 42-41 AD, the atmosphere in the palace was unbearable. Some girls retreated so deeply into themselves that they could no longer speak. Some could no longer sleep without nightmares. Some believed that escape through death was the only peace left. But Caligula's cruelty had one more layer. He allowed parents to visit their daughters, not to help them, but to witness their suffering while pretending everything was fine. The entire palace became a stage of forced smiles and buried agony. But no tyrant is invincible. Caligula finally crossed the line when he humiliated the very men who protected him. Among them was Cassius Chaerea, a once loyal soldier whose patience had reached its limit. Plans formed, whispers spread, and on January 24, 41 AD, during the Palatine Games, Chaerea and the conspirators struck. Caligula entered a dim underground passage, believing he was untouchable. He was wrong. In moments, the emperor who demanded worship collapsed not as a god, but as an ordinary, terrified human being. The palace erupted into chaos. Guards retaliated, innocents were caught in the violence, and inside the Garden of Venus, the girls hid in terror, not knowing if the fall of a tyrant meant salvation or a new danger. Hours later, Caligula's timid uncle, Claudius, became emperor, and he made a choice: protect Rome's reputation, not its victims. The girls were returned home in silence, draped in expensive fabrics, given large dowries, but told to forget. No trials, no justice, no accountability. Rome buried the truth. The young women who returned were not the same girls who left. Many spent the rest of their lives secluded, carrying emotional wounds that no one wished to acknowledge. Rome moved on. The world moved on. But history remembers because stories like these reveal something deeper. A nation can build wonders, but still fail to protect its most vulnerable, and the warnings echo through time. Evil does not always arrive with wars or flames. Sometimes it hides behind luxury, sometimes behind silence, and sometimes it wears a crown. If this story unsettled you, let it. If it made you think about the cost of unchecked power, then the voices Rome tried to silence are finally being heard. Thanks for watching.